Welcome to my $100,000 stock experiment, year 2, week 1, ending April 19, 2019. This isn't an endorsement to purchase any stocks that I've bought, nor an endorsement to purchase stocks in general. I'm sharing my stock journey. Just watch me on my journey, learn from my mistakes, and celebrate my successes. My mission in year 2 is to become a great CAN-SLIM growth stock investor. I didn't reach my $200,000 goal in year 1, but I'm going to see if I can reach it in year 2. This year I'm going to focus on my stock selection, buying, and managing my portfolio. And I'm going to continue to practice and refine my selling. It isn't just about buying. I'm learning first you have to select the stocks you want to purchase and then wait for the perfect buying opportunity. I'm having a hard time getting started here, but I put some buy rules down on paper. First, I want to buy at the right time. Usually this is the pivot point, but sometimes I might do early buy points. And I want to pyramid into my positions. As the stocks are going up and showing that they're working, I'm going to buy additional shares. That's going to force me to hold less stocks, and I'm going to shoot for holding between 5 to 7 stocks. The market is in a confirmed uptrend. The S&P is basically flat from last week. It's down 2 points, but it's very near that point of resistance that I've pointed out a few weeks ago at 29.12. So I'm really happy where it's at. It basically went sideways for the week, but that's a good sign that it's not going down. And the volatility index is down at 12.09. I like to see it under 16. It's well below that and has been below it for several weeks, so that's a good sign for the market too. I did sell 2 stocks this week, and I also purchased 2 stocks this week. You'll notice down in my purchases, I'm starting to buy fractional shares. So I purchased 73.8 of Five Below and 8.1 shares of Google. And I'm doing that because I want to compare these stocks side by side at a $10,000 purchase value. NIO is one of the stocks that I sold. I held it for 12 days and I lost 2.3%. I sold it on 417 where that black dot is, and the sell price would have been right around that dash yellow line. If I wouldn't have moved my floor up from that 8%, the next day on 418, my sell rule would have triggered because the low that day was 1890 and my floor had been at 1893, so it would have triggered that 8% rule by 3 cents. SurveyMonkey, I also sold this week on 415. I had held that 11 days and it did trigger my 8% loss rule. Here's the current holding bar chart for the stocks that I've held for just 1 week. Five, you can see, is up below that $10,000 purchase amount, and Google is slightly above that. Google, I had owned the stock before a few weeks ago and got stopped out, but it got into a pivot point and I still like the stock, so I went ahead and purchased it. Its RS line was at 84, which isn't super strong, but it's moving up, and the composite ratings at 98. These rankings are proprietary IBD ratings. You can check it out at investors.com. They have lots of good materials, and you can get a trial subscription if you want. I've held this stock for 3 days, and at the end of the week, it's up 0.2%. Five Below, I purchased on April 15th. It was in a pivot point. It had a good relative strength of 96 and composite rating of 97, and it's in this strong group of retail, I think discounters, which I seem to be leaning towards. I have a couple of stocks in this sector. This stock was so strong it went up 2.5% right after I bought it, and the next day I made a second buy. My first buy I've held for 5 days and it's up 4.6%, and my second buy is up 2.1%. My first buy I buy $10,000 and my second buy I buy $6,000. Here's my current holdings for stocks that I've held for 2 weeks or more. And I rank these in the order of weakest to strongest. Weakest doesn't mean the biggest loss, and strongest doesn't mean the biggest gain, but I'm looking at the charts to see which ones I think are performing the best and performing the weakest. TWLO is a stock that I think is my weakest. I've held it for 3 weeks and it's down about 4%. It's also down at its 50-day moving average, that red diagonal line, and it's below its 8-day and 13-day simple moving average, the 28-day exponential moving average. So I'm not happy with the performance of this stock, but I'm giving it time and I'm leaving the floor at the 8% floor. Boot Barn I've held for 3 weeks and it's down 2%. And again, it's below the 8-day and 13-day simple moving averages, and I did leave my floor at last week's. Keys, this stock has had a nice run. I've held it for 5.6 weeks and it's up 5.3%. My floor is above my purchase price, so if I did get stopped out, it would give me a gain, but I left the floor at last week's 28-day exponential moving average. I didn't move it up. ATR, I've held the stock for 3 weeks and it's up about 1%. It is above its 28-day exponential moving average, but below the 8 and 13-day simple moving averages. And I left the floor at last week's floor. Bold, I've held the stock for 5 weeks and it's up 2%. And again, I left my floor at last week's floor. CyberArk, this stock I've held for 5.6 weeks and it's up 5.6%. My floor is still below my purchase price. I did move it up, but I'm keeping it at the 50-day simple moving average because this stock has been super strong in the past, and I just wanted to give it some room to go. ACN, this stock's doing a little bit better, but not much. Its price is right on the 8-day and 13-day simple moving average, and I did move my floor up to the 28-day exponential moving average. I've held it for 3 weeks and it's up 1.6%. ADP, I've held this stock just about 10 weeks and it's up 9.5%, and it is right around the 8 and 13-day simple moving averages, and I did move my floor up to the 28-day. Ollie, this is the best looking chart. The stock is above the 8 and 13-day simple moving average, and there's a bit of price difference between the two. I've held this stock for 2 weeks and it's up 3.4%. I take a look at my current gains in the dollar value and I sort them in order of weakest to strongest. TWLO and Boot up at the top are my 2 weakest performers, and I have losses in those. But the ones I'm really happy about, I put gold stars by Ollie and 5. I've held those stocks for 1 and 2 weeks, and they're doing just as well, if not better, than stocks that I've held for 6 weeks. So that's awesome. And I also look at my percentage change from week to week. I have a lot of stocks I'm concerned about. Number one, I put them in the red box. Last week was a really hard week for me, and I'm having a hard time making progress. The stock that concerns me the most there is Boot Barn, that has almost 2% losses for 2 weeks in a row. And number 2 in the green are the stocks that I'm happy with. My sector and industry breakdown for the week shows comparison to last week, and you can see that I added to Five Below, so I have quite a big holding in retail. My weekly tracker, I highlighted the sections in yellow that I'm concerned about and the ones in green that I like. So my average gain is going down, which I don't like, but my winning percentage went up. So I have still 11 stocks, that 9 are winners and 2 are losers. My largest gain also went down slightly, which is concerning because I've held one stock for 49 days and I don't have a slugger yet, which I like to see having a slugger somewhere around 35 days. Largest loss has gone down, which is good, but my total gain also went down, which is not good. And I did sell 2 stocks this week, one of them for an 8% loss. I'm still working out how I'm going to report my year 2, so I just kept this continuous from the time when I started my stock experiment. 1 year and 1 week in, I'm up 21% versus the S&P up at 9%. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for my next episode, or better yet, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell if you want an alert when I post a new episode. For those of you who haven't been watching my stock experiment, I'm putting at the end my basic premise when I started it a year ago. You can pause and read through these. And here are my sell rules that I had at the end of year 1. These are the sell rules that I'll be following along or adjusting as I continue my year 2.